Do you have a grandchild, a grandson that's a lot like you? I want to say, I don't know if he mimics you, but there is going to be a grandson that will grow up to be a little bit more like you. Now, listen, and I'm going to say this for a reason. You have this chance to put the best in him that you never got that chance from others when you were growing up. I'm being told that, okay?
Yeah.
And you have that, and it's nice. Timing couldn't be better.
Oh.
But what you've learned in your past, it's kind of funny because you're going to actually induce all these great things, and you're going to put it into this little guy. And there's going to be a lot of good coming. But there's something about this grandson, I want to say, that's going to really have a connection to you. What you say to this child, it's going to be absorbed in such a good way.
Well, I have 3 grandsons. So
Well, I'm picking up one.
Yeah, well, one of them is 4, and he'd be the one that'd be the most aware of.
He's going to be very close to you in such a way, spirit-wise. There's going to be a very heavy connection, and you, I think, are already close to him. You love them all for different reasons, and I'm not saying that.
Right.
But this child will actually benefit from where you are now and what you've learned. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Okay.
I like it.
Now, are you getting that from
A Roger Dahl? Does he check in with that?
Roger Dahl.
Where do you know where things come from?
Roger is who?
My dad.
Okay, there's an older man coming through, and he's actually saying, you have the chance that I didn't do.
Well, that'd be accurate.
Okay. So I'm getting that. But he's actually nice enough to come through and say it. There's no arrogance. There's no ego on the other side. We have ego here as human spirits. We have ego here.
Roger did miss out on a lot of grandfatherly time. Right?
Everything.
Oh, he
pretty
did?
much, yeah.
Okay,
Everything.
and he's saying because of your loss that you didn't get through him, you're going to put it into your grandson.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he's actually very sure about that. So when Spirit says something...
Has he mentioned he's a millionaire?
No.
What about almond butter?
I like that. I do. I like that a lot. Yeah, but no, and he's coming with that specific message about his little grandson, great grandchild actually. So that's really nice. It's very nice.
Is these essentially is what happens all the time is that you find that there are spirits who want to give this kind of advice, or they want to answer. They're aware that people down here have questions, have
Absolutely.
unanswered questions, unresolved things between.
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Okay.
And it's a necessity. It's actually good for all of you, the living, but it's also good for their spirit.
They're still unresolved to some degree.
Very much so, and they need their peace as much as we need ours.
Mm-hmm.
They just, like I said, it's all ego here. When you cross into the light, it's not about ego. It's just about what's right. There is remorse, and remorse is real. But I'll tell you, there are so many people that leave my office, and they're like 2 different people. That's huge, and that's my goal. I could say, well, I see you going on a trip. I see that's such a generic read, okay? I kind of want to be different. I actually enjoy putting the puzzle pieces together. I want to know and help people understand the whys. I had a woman yesterday, was a client, and she wanted to know why her mother hated her. And she actually took it that she did something wrong her whole life. I kind of flipped it. And I said, why don't you, okay, let's put you this way. If you had a choice, now you've got 4 daughters, I said to this woman. If you had a choice to have a great childhood, but a messed up marriage and messed up kids, which one would you choose? And she says, well, my 4 girls and my husband. I have gold right now. So maybe you had to go through all of that to be the person that you are, to actually look at it in such a way to cherish that. It's like a recovering alcoholic. You're always making sure you're aware not to do those things. So when you come from an abuse and a home that way, when you have children, you either can go in the cycle and do it again, just like the way you were raised, or you can break that cycle and be constantly aware because you know what that felt like and you want to be as far away as possible. So your children, your spouse, is actually getting the best of you because of that.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Steve's dad, he was there Steve was there at his bedside. He was there as he went through his illness and passed away.
And spirit does hear, even when they're unconscious. If they're in a coma, they hear everything because I call it in between worlds. Okay, you could be in a coma and your spirit will jump out and actually sit in that hospital chair, just sitting there waiting, like, come on, because they can't go into the light. The body physically has to be pronounced dead, so they're waiting.
Yeah,
and they are okay, and they're hearing everything. They're seeing everybody. They know whose hand and what you whispered. I had somebody that said thank you to the child, and the child says, "Why?" I says, "Because your mother said thank you for telling me to let go, and it was okay to go." Because I heard those words, I was able to do that. And she said, it's funny you say that, because when I said that, my mother took this breath and she passed. She said, and it was the most surreal, most peaceful moment. It was like a birth. I said, well, a passing is like a birth.
Now, I've been worried about Steve because he hasn't cried. He hasn't broken down and cried since his dad died. Is that a concern for Roger?
No, because I think, I don't. Honestly, I don't think you have to cry to get everything out. I think you see it for what it is, and I think with Steve, he sees it for truth. It's very important when you have people or issues to see people and the circumstance for what it is and not for what we hope and wish. When you hope and wish, you're setting yourself up for failure of how that person you wish could be. In reality, see the person for what they are, no more, no less. You release your own prison that you put yourself from your illusion. So I think what Steve saw, he saw it. I believe that you're sad, that you were sad of seeing your father and maybe what you went through. But then I think you just saw him as the man that he was, incapable.
All right. I'm still going to get him to cry one of these days.
He doesn't have
get him
to
to
cry. That's all right.
Feel the dreams.
He may cry when he does something to you. There you go.